Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Patrice's Projects. Today is the first day of autumn. Excited about that. My garden is winding down and I'm ready for it, I think. I just got a few fall greens and radishes started, so I'll show you that real quick. But today's project is not the garden. Today is about the garden, but not totally the garden itself. So let's go take a look at the garden first, and then we'll talk about the other project. Okay, we'll start with the big thing, which is every gardener's staple is tomatoes. And there's actually 4 tomato plants right here. We have the Rodaid, which is a determinate tomato. And this one should have already quit producing, but pretty much it has. It's just growing these little tiny things that aren't really worth keeping the plant over. I should have already pulled it out, but I had high hopes for it to restart when the weather began to cool, which it already did, and it hasn't. And then over here on the end we have 2 Cosmonaut Volkovs, and you see disease just really ravaged my plants. But, oh my goodness, look at the size of that bugger. That's a hornworm up there. Where's his horn? There it is, right up there at the top. So anyway, I'll get him off in a little bit. That's the first one I've seen in a few weeks. So, but other than the hornworms, the blight has really taken a hard toll on my plants. But this plant is pretty vigorous, and it just keeps outgrowing the disease. So you still see it's producing some good tomatoes on it. See, this one down here is pretty good size right here. So I'm going to keep these 2 in the ground for right now. But my Polish linguiça has not produced in a long time. It has kept growing, and it continues to flower every now and then. But it has not produced any viable fruit. I'm trying to find any flowers at this point in more than a couple months. Here's a couple flowers from it, way over there. But it needs to come out. I think those are on the list for the next couple of days anyway. And of course my jalapenos are just growing, doing great. And unfortunately, we don't eat that many hot peppers. I have a recipe for mashed potatoes with it that is delicious, but we don't use it for much more than that. This is my only watermelon, and I posted a picture on my YouTube or my Facebook of my cantaloupe that was a little bigger than a golf ball. It was about that size. And it looked like a cantaloupe, tasted like a cantaloupe, smelled like a cantaloupe, and had mature seeds, but nothing I'm going to keep seeds for. And my zucchini, which starts here and goes all the way down, has curved around. And most people have already taken their zucchinis and such out, but there it is. Way down there, you see there's a little zucchini. And it's still producing, not very quickly, but it's still producing. Oh, there's a bee right in there. Look at that. Unfortunately, a male flower. But this plant here, there's another, you see, I have 1, 2 plants. This one started a new baby of its own. It sprouted off of itself. And when it did that, it produced a fruit off of there real quickly. And the main plant quit growing for a while, but I did harvest yesterday 2 mature zucchini, 1 from the main plant, 1 from the baby. And over here you see the basil growing, really nice and tall. And it keeps trying to flower. When you see something like this, where it's all clustered together, that is not a whole bunch of little leaves. That's the blossom trying to start. And you pinch that baby off because it'll affect the flavor of most basils. And you don't want that. Plus, by doing that, I'm pinching the growing tip. And it's going to bush out every time you cut one of these things off. Oh, there's a broken one. every time you cut one off, then it's going to encourage side shoot. And when we turn around, we have this in my main walkway. This is a pumpkin plant. And I was able to get 4 pumpkins already of varying sizes off. I guess it would have been 3 plants at the time because I had a couple in there. So I got maybe 2 out of there, and then 2 down here off the 2 plants down here. And I did not pull the plants after they grew their pumpkins and started looking bad, and they quit blooming and they quit doing things. But I kept them in, and now I've got a nice big pumpkin there, an even bigger one over that way. So after I harvest those, I'm going to see if it'll do it again. But I did, in the meantime, before I realized they were really going to take off, planted a couple more pumpkins right there. And then this one hopefully will grow. Those sage green pumpkins that are out for Halloween and such, planted one of those there, hoping to get something off of it. I saved the seed from a pumpkin I had gotten. My kale has taken off, and along with the kale I have aphids. I don't know if you can see them in there. Oh, there they are. Look at that. So I hose it heavily when I water it about every other time or so. And it seems to be doing pretty well. I've been battling cabbage loopers all season. And down here you can see, when I water it, all this white speckly stuff is dead aphids. And down here, where I had some space, I went ahead and planted some black-seeded Simpson lettuce. And these are cantaloupe over here, hoping to get something decent. But I have black-seeded Simpson over here, and then between the pumpkins, I had planted a romaine-type lettuce, and only those 3 have sprouted so far. But this was just like less than a week ago I planted all this. And then over here I planted some spinach, and there's one there and one over that way, and a few others, but a cat apparently walked in here last night. I don't smell anything, so I'm hoping we're safe. There is the Patrice cherry tomato that I planted very late in the season. It's got a lot of blight, but it seems to be outgrowing it. I have lots of cherry tomatoes hanging off of it. I'll show you from the other side. My bell pepper plant that I planted late. I need to take this big bell pepper off. I was hoping it would go red and harvest it then, but it's been hanging on there green for weeks, literally. And then the other little flowers won't really do anything. They've just been hanging around waiting for me to harvest the 2 that got big. I harvested one because it got sun-scorched. All of this is, let's see, 7 yam plants, and I never grew yams before. So my cucumber plants, look, there's another little one started there, and another one behind this leaf number 3. Okay, and here's my lemon cucumbers. I just harvested most of them recently, but I noticed some of them are just tiny and they start turning quite yellow, so we'll see. There's one that is going to become a large one. I do hand pollinate a lot of my things, including my cucumbers, to make sure I get a good harvest. And over here I planted, here you can see it, radishes. This is my last remaining cabbage, which I'm going to harvest, because you can see down in here it has split just like the other 2 did, and it's big enough for a nice coleslaw, so I'm happy. That's enough. And my mint that I forgot to water once and it died back, but it always comes back, and it was starting to get too bushy anyway, so it was time. Here's the Patrice cherry tomato. See? It's got plenty of tomatoes on it. So I'm pleased with it. The taste is good. I love it. Thanks, Ray. This is the beautiful flower of the yam. Isn't that gorgeous? And I don't know if that was smell. Let me get down there and try smelling it. Nothing. Nope. Don't smell anything, but it is beautiful to see. So I'm thinking that these are going to be coming out soon, because a lot of things, after they bloom, then they start to die back. So there's that second, the bigger pumpkin. I think this one is a little bit bigger than the bigger one I got the first round. So I'm going to let the kids across the street pick the smaller of those two. Rosemary, marjoram, a Polish linguiça that didn't do well and I cut back because I needed its cage. Strawberries are producing again. Here's the ones that I had in a pot for a long time. These ones are called Fragaria, and they have a nice flavor, medium size to kind of big. This is my June bearing, which I got in the ground too late to get a harvest off of, but it's been sending out runners like crazy, and I started throwing them over the side because I didn't know what to do with them. This is the Albion here, and this one is also an everbearing. So it produces all season long, from spring all the way through fall. And this is my container yam, so I wanted to see how containers did compared to in-ground, but I put so many in-ground I won't really have a good comparison. This one is not blooming, and it actually looked better than the other plants for almost all summer long, and then it just started looking bad recently. I did plant one yam in ground, and this one was one of the later plantings, and it has gone crazy. I had to push it out away because I wanted to plant my peas for fall in here, and I've also got some cucumbers that are bigger, a few red lettuces because I had the space at the moment, and you can see the peas are just beginning down there, and I need to move my trellis just a little bit further back, but I've got, I don't know if you can see it from this angle. Yeah, I've got them growing along the side, but see, it gets really close there. So, probably want to do something about that. So, 3 different types of cucumbers growing here, and just to see how they do in fall. And then a little bit more going on over here, nothing really to talk about. Okay, so in the video that I actually filmed last week, which is going to be posted after this video, I had shown the brand new garden shed in the workings. So in that video you'll see that this area was even more of a mess than it is right now, but we've been cleaning it up. This is where my wood pile was, my firewood, and there was a couple bicycles stored over there and everything. It was just pretty, it was a mess, and it's underneath a gigantic deodara, and so I had the branches cut back. I have a bug right in my face. I had the branches cut back so that in the fall and summer the sun comes and just hits this area really heavy, and I scavenged some windows. They aren't opening windows, so that kind of sucks, but I won't be able to get to them anyway because I'll have shelves in front of them, so I guess it doesn't really matter. One of the windows that I will be able to get to, hopefully, I plan to replace at some point. Anyway, so the garden shed is going to go right over here, and let's just point out where it's going to be. So here I'm looking at it from the south side looking north, and so my garden shed will start 2 feet back from the front of there. It'll have a ramp so that you can push in the mower and the barbecue on that side over there. There'll be a 2-foot gap between the 2 sheds. And you see this mound of soil. I've been trying to level out, plus I found, and you can see it right back there in the back corner. My husband had built this many, many, many years ago, like 25 years ago maybe, and he didn't keep up with keeping the brush and debris cleared away, and that's something that's really important. And then since I've been here for the last over 6 years, 7, I've been clearing out, the brush from back here because I saw it was piled up against the back, and I saw that it was starting to affect it, so I started clearing it out some. And I didn't really see this corner because there was a lot of things in the way. There was a bush here that I took out, and I finally was able to get the last of it out yesterday. But you see, one brick holding this. And instead of using any sort of piers or pylons or whatever they're called, they used a single brick to hold this thing up. And you see it's completely rotted out from all the debris that was up against it. So there's really no saving this area, but I did discover it's a 4x4. So I'm hoping that it's just the exterior that looks this bad. But what we're going to do is, my husband bought a 1x6, and it's going to cover that whole area about like that. He doesn't really want to take this thing apart, plus it's in such a condition, we're kind of afraid of taking anything off. But I am going to replace this trim that I just painted. And I was telling my husband, we need to paint this whole side before putting in the other shed, because it's going to be hard to get to. So I've been working on that, working on clearing out, and then also I made this little trench here so that the water can run away from the shed. That's not the only problem I run across. Okay, we go back behind the shed here. Again, brick with just wood on top that could rot away. And here, there is nothing holding this corner of the shed up. It rotted away completely, so I'm going to try to cram under there some of those rectangular pavers that are a couple inches thick, and put those so that if this ever does start to come down more, it'll just stop on those. Because here, the wood is pretty solid. So, as long as I can keep it clear and dry, I think we'll be good on that. Over here on the side, same thing. Here's the brick, and the brick isn't even under the edge that much. So they just did a really lousy job when they put it up. He had the company come out and do that. So here again, I'm going to try to put some of those pavers in, which I did find one right here in the ground. Funny. This is the type of paver that I'm putting in. It looks kind of like a headstone, but it's not. And I'm going to do what I can to try to save this thing. Maybe put in a couple pavers later under this front corner, because you can see the wood is rotting out. And it's crooked on that front one. That's how it was put in, because that's how it's painted there. So I'm going to do what I can so that this one doesn't come down as soon as the other one's up. Thank you for joining me today at Patrice's Projects. I'm really excited about getting this going. This way I can do some videos of seed starting and such. I plan to start my seeds in January so that I can get an early start again next year on some of the crops, like the tomatoes and the peppers and the eggplant. I'm going to try and start really early so that I can get them in the ground, probably March, early March. So I'll be growing those in the new garden shed, given it's up and ready to go. So in the next video, it shows, like all the floor plans and the all the side elevations, the floor, the roof, all my ideas I have in mind for it. So watch the next episode and you'll see all that. And I hope to see you then. That's how I do it.